Now, I can't quite believe that we're approaching that time of the season already, but regardless, join me in this video as I make 5 early suggestions on players Ipswich Town should sign in the January transfer window. Good morning, afternoon or evening, depending on whenever you are watching this. My name is Harvey Bell. Welcome back to the channel, and if you do go on to enjoy the video, please do subscribe down below. We start off today's list with Callum Wilson. Now, I think we should try and get Callum Wilson on loan on the basis that Ipswich Town at the minute do have a little bit of a lack of depth in the striker position. Obviously, George Hurst has become injured in recent weeks. Delap, as good as he is, does have a tendency to get yellow cards, and he will probably get suspended at some point. And as much as I love Ali Al-Hamadi, he is a player that didn't really play much in the Championship, let alone the Premier League. So it might be a little bit early for him to be making that step as a regular starter in the team. So I do think that we need another striker in our attacking ranks just to bolster and just to make sure that we have someone there in the event that Liam Delap was to become suspended. And why not go out and get a short-term solution to that problem in Callum Wilson, somebody that's fallen out of favour at Newcastle but is a proven Premier League goal scorer, a good age as well with plenty of experience, and has even represented England. Liam Delap is obviously ambitious to represent England at some point, and it would be good to learn from somebody like Callum Wilson. It reminds me a little bit of last year when we signed Kiefer Moore. We needed somebody with experience in scoring goals in the Championship, albeit very different circumstances with us trying to get promoted from the division. This year, obviously, it looks like we're going to be trying to avoid relegation, but still goals are so important, and I think having a proven goal scorer like Callum Wilson in the squad could be a really useful short-term solution to a potentially quite big problem. Next up, I'm saying Evan Ferguson. And again, it's another striker. This is perhaps a much younger option, somebody that lit the Premier League alight at the start of last season, that hasn't really kicked on for whatever reason that might be. He's had a couple of injuries along the way. He's a player that Kieran McKenna has a lot of praise for. He's mentioned in press conferences before that he likes players like Evan Ferguson. The rumours are that we've been linked with him throughout the last transfer windows. How true that is, obviously, we don't know. But he is a player that definitely fits the profile of a Kieran McKenna striker. Tall, athletic, good at running in behind, and just an all-round really good number 9. He is obviously coming back from injury. He is behind the pecking order at Brighton, so it is likely that he will be wanting to get regular game time. Is it unrealistic to say that we could get him on a permanent deal? Probably, but it is likely that they would allow him to leave on loan, so it does seem like he could be a really good addition, and again, just another option to have up top. Obviously, we probably wouldn't want to go for Wilson and Evan Ferguson, but one of the two I think would be really, really good. Sticking with Brighton now, but moving to centre-back, and I'm going to suggest Adam Webster. Now, I have to give a big shout out to my friend Callum Brittit, who was on the channel last week, because I was having a conversation with him, and it was actually him that put this name in my head. And it makes a lot of sense, because Ipswich in recent weeks have been shown that we might be moving to playing with a back 5 more permanently, which means we need 3 centre-backs a game. At the minute, we've got Luke Wolfenden, Axel Twan-Zabi, Dara O'Shea, Cameron Burgess and Jacob Greaves who can play there. Would another one hurt? Probably not, just to have those options. And Adam Webster makes a lot of sense, because when he first went to Brighton, he was playing really, really well, became one of their best players, and was even linked with a big move to Chelsea that never happened. Since then, he isn't necessarily getting all the game time. He seems to have fallen behind Lewis Dunk and Van Hecke in the pecking order, and isn't getting as many minutes as he would like. But there's lots and lots of undercurrents with Ipswich here. He's Connor Chaplin's best mate. That's well documented. He was signed by Mark Ashton at Bristol City. Of course, used to play for Ipswich. So everything suggests that actually this would be a really good transfer. Don't know how much we'd have to pay for him. It would probably be around the 15-20 million pound mark. But if what Latte Laugh's agent said was true a couple of weeks ago, that we put in a £20 million bid for him on the last deadline day, it shows that we have still got some funds to play with. And could they be spent on Adam Webster? Fourth, and we're sticking in the centre-back department, but we're going down to the Championship and going to Luton Town to look at Tiedan Mangi. Now, this one, for me, is a player that is going under the radar quite significantly, because of course Luton haven't had the best of seasons, but he played for them in the Premier League last year and was very, very decent. 22 22 years of age and also representing England at youth level, so he knows Liam Delap, he knows Amari Hutchinson, and he did come through the ranks at Manchester United. He would know Kieran McKenna. He seems like a player that has lots and lots of potential, and he's only, as I say, only 22 years old, so there's still plenty of scope to develop. Would he come in and start straight away? Probably not, but he'd be a very good option to have, and somebody that I think, if we were to sign him in the next 2 or 3 years, could become a very regular starter. My fifth and final suggestion for now is Gustavo Hemer. Now, this one is a little bit out there and it's probably up for debate because we do have a number of good central midfielders at the minute, and that is probably the one area in the team that we are absolutely stacked in. So maybe we don't need another centre midfielder, but that hasn't necessarily stopped us in the past. I seem to remember when we were in League One, there was a really good centre midfield battle going on, and we went on inside Massimo Luongo, and look how that turned out. He looked to be really, really good. So I think signing Gustavo Hemer, maybe not necessarily this transfer window, but certainly in the future, could be a really good move because he is a really, really good player. He's performing down in the Championship really well with Sheffield United. He was a bright spark last season for them in the Premier League, even though they had a really, really poor season. He's got the capability to score a really good goal and pull something special out of the bag, and his all-round play is absolutely fantastic. I think he's widely considered one of the best players in the Championship at the minute, and obviously in the summer we did go out and raid the Championship of some of the best players, Jack Clark, Sam Schmodix, and I think we could add Gustavo Hemer to that list. Realistically, do I think this is going to happen in January? Not necessarily, but the reason I'm putting it on this list is because I think it's a transfer we want to make happen sooner rather than later. It's reported that there was interest in the summer, but I think he ended up signing a new contract at Sheffield United. But it would be good to get that deal done in one of the next few transfer windows at least, because I have the feeling that he's going to go on to become one of the top players that if we don't sign him now, we'll end up having to pay a lot more money for in the future. So I would really like to see us be ambitious and try and sign Gustavo Hemer this transfer window. I don't think it's going to happen personally, but that would be my fifth and final suggestion. So those are my 5 suggestions then for players Ipswich Town should sign in the January transfer window. Purely made up by me. There's no speculation on whether they're actually coming or not. I've got no reason to believe that they are. They're just purely players that I really like and think would fit in well at Ipswich Town. Very interested to hear what you think of my suggestions. I'm very interested to hear the areas and the players that you think Ipswich Town should look at improving in the January transfer window and who you think should come into the club. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, come on you Blues.